Let's be completely honest for a second here. We've all let out that universal groan when we're handed a giant stack of paperwork, or when we click a link and see an endless digital document we have to fill out. But what if I told you that the very thing we usually dread is actually the absolute unsung hero of business efficiency? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to look way past the blank lines and checkboxes to uncover the hidden architecture that actually keeps businesses running smoothly. Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the power of forms, how to actually design them, internal versus external usage, navigating form fields, weighing the pros and cons, and finally, mastering form control.
Part 1. The Power of Office Forms.
We really need to stop viewing forms as just, mere pieces of paper and start seeing them as the hidden plumbing that directs the entire flow of information. Let me ask you a highly relatable question. What truly keeps an office from descending into total, unmanageable chaos? Just think about it. If every single employee, client, or vendor communicated their needs in completely different, unstructured ways, like some via emails, some on random sticky notes, others through a quick hallway chat, how would anything get tracked, approved, or actually accomplished? Unchecked and unstructured communication is literally the enemy of efficiency.
Well, the answer lies in standardization. An office form is simply an arranged format. It's a standardized and structured document with blank spaces specifically for entering information. And by forcing all those varied random requests into this one framework, we turn unpredictable communication into actionable data. It ensures only the necessary information is communicated, which absolutely transforms and eases office operations.
Moving right along to Part 2, designing effective office forms. So, creating these essential tools requires some serious thought. You don't just throw boxes on a page. The process actually begins with clarifying your specific information needs. You simply can't ask for data if you don't know exactly why you need it. Next up, it's absolutely critical to obtain approval from a competent authority before you even think about introducing a new form. Once you've got the green light, you sequence the information logically from the user's point of view. For instance, asking for a name before you ask for their contact details, right? And finally, the physical or digital layout is designed. You have to consider everything from giving people adequate space to write to the overall visual appeal, because believe it or not, that directly impacts organizational goodwill. There's a brilliant insight that the designing of office forms is considered to be both a science as well as an art. It really requires the scientific precision of data collection, perfectly balanced with the artistic touch of user experience. Carelessly designed forms, they carry a heavy financial burden. If a layout is confusing, it wastes time, it creates clerical errors, and it basically disrupts your entire system.
Section 3. Internal versus external forms.
Now, there is a very clear boundary between the internal ecosystem of your staff and the external ecosystem of your clients. Internal forms, which we also call organizational forms, are customized to meet day-to-day needs and speed up communication between management and staff. Think of them as the organization talking to itself. External forms, on the other hand, are entirely different. These focus on core business functionality, things like purchase orders or loan agreements. These are fundamentally required for the survival and the growth of the business out in the real world. Consider a standard Performa for leave application. Think about the very last time you requested some time off. This exact structure captures highly specific employee information, the type of leave, the duration, and most importantly, it guides that request straight to the required signatures of the branch in charge and the competent authority. There are no messy back and forth emails, just a clean, standardized procedure. Now, contrast that internal document with an external contract form, like a supply outward voucher. This isn't about internal staff chit-chat. This is fundamentally tied to business transactions, inventory movement, and commerce. A template like this tracks customer information, order details, tax summaries, and product specifications. This is the crucial documentation that literally keeps the business's lights on, ensuring revenue is tracked and creditors are managed. All right, Part 4, navigating form fields. In today's digital age, paper is really only half the story. Web forms utilize a highly structured set of user input fields. Let's quickly run through these. We've got text fields for your basic typing, password fields that mask characters for security, checkboxes for making multiple selections, drop-down fields to save precious screen space, date pickers for accurate scheduling, and radio buttons, which cleverly force a user to select just one option out of a limited group. All these tools work together to force the user into highly structured, error-free inputs during digital workflows. And to massively speed up the actual creation of these forms, administrators use things called field groups. These are essentially pre-configured clusters. So instead of building a first name, last name, email, and PIN code field from scratch every single time they make a form, they can just drop that whole group in at once. Modern e-forms also feature progress trackers, which naturally break complex documents into logical, numbered steps. It acts as a friendly guide so the user doesn't just look at it and get totally overwhelmed. Section 5. The pros and cons. So let's weigh this all out. While forms massively reduce clerical work and ensure a really quick supply of required information through convenient, known formats, they do demand a high initial investment. The design of paper forms, plus their accompanying business software, requires significant time and money to get right. And if you get it wrong, well, a badly designed form leads directly to user confusion and creates a genuinely high financial burden due to sheer avoidable inefficiency. But shifting to e-forms heavily tips the scales back toward the advantages. E-forms are a fantastic, green, eco-friendly way of processing information. They seamlessly integrate with your other business databases, which makes storage and retrieval an absolute breeze. And honestly, perhaps best of all, they feature auto-population based on previously entered data. That literally slashes data entry errors right out of the gate. Finally, Part 6, Mastering Form Control. To achieve absolute administrative mastery, an organization has to enforce form control, which is also known as inventory control. This is the optimal procurement, care, and disposition of paper forms. Whether you're standing in a manufacturing plant or sitting in a high-rise corporate office, this concept is your overarching safeguard against immense paper waste and inventory mismanagement. The real secret sauce here is mastering EOQ, or the economic order quantity. This is a mathematical sweet spot that perfectly balances the cost of printing forms against the cost of storing them. By finding your EOQ, you determine the absolute ideal order quantity of physical forms. It keeps you from drowning in obsolete paperwork that's just taking up valuable office space, while simultaneously ensuring you never run out of the essential documents you actually need to keep the business running. Which brings us to the end of our journey today, and I really want to leave you with a provocative thought. Look around at your own office's paperwork right now. Look at the digital links you send out, the leave applications you submit. How can you optimize this hidden architecture of your business today? Could a better field group save your external clients time? Could mastering EOQs save your entire department money? The tools for efficiency are literally right in front of you, waiting to be designed. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to take these insights and start restructuring your workflow right now.